Hey friends, welcome back to Mom Empowered. I am so excited for this episode because I want to share some things that I have been learning and experiencing these last few months that I really do believe can be a game changer for you if you let them. Now, I actually came up with the idea for this episode during my birthday weekend, which was just a couple weeks ago, because I really felt like it was just such a perfect example of this lesson in action. And my hope is that by the end of listening to this, you're going to see things in a different way. You may even start to experience life in a different way and choose to approach things from a place of more desire and alignment instead of maybe what some of us approach life with, which is more so anxiety and obligation. So, to start off, I want to share what happened on my birthday weekend. I celebrated turning 31, and this was just a couple of weeks ago on Labor Day. Like, my birthday was actually on Labor Day, which is kind of fun. But heading into that weekend, I was honestly kind of stressed. I was a little all over the place. My cycle was about to start, so I was feeling more hormonal and tired than usual. I was planning this big, fun 90s party for me and my friends, and I still had so much to do to get ready for that. I was looking forward to trying out my new paddleboard on the lake, which, by the way, is super cute. It's like the most fun pink. If you don't follow me on Instagram, definitely check it out. I have a few reels and whatnot with my paddleboard, and I'm just obsessed with it. So yeah, I was looking forward to that. But at the same time, as I was heading into my birthday weekend, I just kept thinking about how I still had this giant to-do list looming over me, which actually is pretty normal for me, and especially in the season. I'm running two businesses, I'm single parenting, there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. But I remember that Thursday night, right before the weekend was starting, I remember thinking to myself, gosh, my birthday's this weekend and I really want to enjoy it. I want to make the most of it, but there is just so much going on. So I really better hustle tomorrow to try to take care of everything on my plate, or else I'm not going to be able to relax and have fun. Now, side note, and this is important, this is actually what I'm going to be diving into in this episode. A couple of months ago, I had a coach challenge me with this question. What if you were to live your life from a place of desire? Like truly look at your life and approach life from what would make me happy? What do I desire? What would fill me up? What would light me up? Instead of only approaching decisions or approaching your life from a place of obligation or hustle or stress or anxiety or people pleasing or trying to play by the rules. What if you could live your life just from your desire? What would make you experience more peace and more fulfillment and more joy and more alignment with who you are and your values and goals? And I know that like that whole idea in and of itself is pretty loaded. But again, I want to share how this has impacted me in some pretty big things and more examples of what being led by desire and what that can look like. And especially, aligning yourself with what you specifically value and enjoy. I want to share what that has looked like for me. But going back to my birthday weekend, I want to start off with sharing how I applied it there because I do feel like it's such a simple way anyone can start applying this practice. So again, going back to what I was saying, that Thursday night, I was stressed. I was thinking about all the stuff I had to do. And truthfully, I was planning on hustling hard. Like I was going to take all day Friday, all day Saturday to cross as many things off my to-do list as possible. Then I would allow myself to enjoy my party Saturday night. Then I would get back to work on Sunday right after church and maybe even sneak in some work hours on that following Monday, which was my actual birthday. Like this is where I was at mentally. I'm just being totally honest because I'm a hustler, right? People don't realize this about me because I do have this fairly flexible life where I can work when I want to work, I can do things I want to do. But what a lot of people don't see is how meticulously I work to maximize my time and squeeze as many tasks as I can into the margins of my day. Now, I do have like really good systems. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on a podcast before, but I really do stand behind my power planning system. I truly do feel like it makes me into some kind of a superwoman. Like to the point where I feel like sometimes I'm able to get more done in 2 days than a lot of people get done in 2 weeks. And that's not because I'm better than anyone else. It's literally just because I have these systems that I've obsessed over and perfected over the last 5 years. And I'm driven by this looming sense of not reaching my potential. And also, I just genuinely enjoy feeling productive and accomplished. But anyway, I was planning on doing the same thing I always do, which is look for ways to get more done, maybe relax a little here and there, and then get right back to the hustle. Like, even to the point where I was planning on working on Labor Day on my birthday just so that I could maybe complete some projects and feel a little less behind. And that Friday morning, so that was the next morning, I woke up, I went for a walk like I always do, and I just realized, you know what? F that. That is ridiculous. I am working so hard to build this life that protects this supposed time freedom that I crave and I love. And now it's my birthday. It's a holiday weekend. It makes every sense in the world that I would take it easy and take a few days off and not even think about work and just enjoy my time, enjoy my weekend and my time freedom. And instead of doing that, I'm not. I'm still trying to arrange my life to squeeze as much productivity in as possible. So that morning, I decided I'm going to lean back into this coach's challenge and just ask myself, how can I be led by my desire here? Not by fear, not by some to-do list. And by the way, sometimes my desire is to cross off my to-do list. Oftentimes that is my desire, and there's nothing wrong with that. So this is not like a anti-work episode. It's a anti being controlled by a sense of rules or obligation. So I asked myself, how can I be led by desire? Just what I genuinely would love to do. What sounds like the most fun or the most fulfilling way to spend my birthday weekend? What would just tickle me pink and light me up? And I decided then and there on that walk that I will not be clocking into work today or tomorrow. And in fact, I'm not going to clock in on this Labor Day weekend at all. The next time I get back to work, I get back to the hustle and the big long to-do list, the next time I do that, it will be Tuesday morning. And as soon as I made that decision, I just felt lighter. Like I felt like I was aligning myself with what I actually stand for and the life I actually want to live and create and experience for myself. And then of course came the mind drama right after of like, okay, but how? But how much more behind will you be? But how much more stressed are you going to feel? How can you just push everything off like that? You're going to regret this. You're going to make life harder for yourself. And I truthfully I felt that tug of war all weekend long. It didn't go away, right? It would just come like here and there, but at the same time I also felt this sense of if I really do this, if I do really allow myself to be led by my desire this weekend, to let go of the obligation and the rules and the fear, I will not only experience my birthday in a way that would make me proud and happy, but I will also be stepping into my next level. Like me doing this is me actually becoming the woman I envision myself being, who lives her life with confidence and ease, who has a balance, who can work hard and reach her potential, and have a very full life that just lights her up and isn't held back by rules and anxiety. I really did feel like this could be a pivotal moment for me. So I did it. I really did do it. I took 4 days off. And for me and the pace of life I live at, it might as well have been taking 4 weeks off. Like that's how big of a deal it felt for me. And I'm not going to lie, Tuesday morning, I was stressed. Tuesday morning came around and I was feeling a little bit discombobulated. I was kind of scrambling. I hadn't even like at all planned out what the rest of my week would look like now that I had, kind of pushed some things off. I definitely need to rearrange my schedule to make up for those things. But first thing Tuesday morning, I went for a walk. I noticed how I was feeling. Oh, I took all this time off. Now I don't even know how I'm going to get back into my groove. I noticed myself questioning, did I make the right choice? Like, yes, I felt good about the way I spent my weekend, and I really was proud of myself for the way I was able to be present and let go of work and just lean into rest and celebration. But at the same time, I'm also wondering, did I just screw things up? Did I just push off my success even further? And for context, the success I was referring to was me signing a few more clients, me getting this next phase of Mom Empowered off the ground, me being able to pay for my bills and my kids' school. And I went on this walk and I ended up just spending some time in prayer and just noticing where I was at mentally and just talking to God about these worries and thoughts. And again, I found the courage to ask the question, how can I be led by desire right now? And my desire wasn't to get right back into the hustle, even though that's what my brain was telling me. Okay, now you got to work extra hard. You got to make up for it. Now you got to make sure that you just go full force, go as hard as you can. But truthfully, my desire was to ease back in, not to rush, but just to make a few key intentional decisions. Maybe take an hour to send out some pitches to some design clients. This is for Empower House, and then enjoy the rest of the morning and have a nice lunch. And you know what? I did exactly that. And not even 1 hour after sending out those pitches, which was not many, it truly was just like a few. But after I sent out a few of those emails, I got responses from two women who were like, yes, I'm ready. I'm all in. I've been looking to rebrand. I've been needing a web designer. This is literally the perfect timing. When can we chat? And both of those consults later on turned into clients. And for the whole rest of that day, that Tuesday, I just found myself ruminating on what am I so afraid of? And what if I really could live every day like this? Not to say that I shirk my responsibilities or that I don't work hard or fulfill my obligations. Again, oftentimes that is my desire. I want to reach my goals. I do want to work hard. And I think if all of us are being honest, we do have that desire that is there. But what if before I dive into the things that are expected of me or the things that my anxiety is telling me I need to do, what if I just check in with myself and see what feels and sounds good to me? Like, what if I just choose to operate from a place of more trust and ease? Like, actually trust that I am safe and that pursuing my desires is safe instead of just feeling like they're going to lead me astray or somehow ruin me or make my life harder or turn into a catastrophe. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was going to share some bigger examples of what being led by desire has looked like for me this summer, and I want to share two. But then I want to talk about what being led by desire might look like for you, and ultimately why this even matters. Why does it matter that you learn how to do this? What can actually come from living this sort of way? Okay, so first example, this past May, I had to make the tough decision of finding a new source of income for myself and my family. Full disclosure, I've been trying for 6 straight months to fix, and I'm putting fix in quotes, to fix Mom Empowered, which I still fully believed in. I still fully wanted to succeed, but it just wasn't sustaining me. And I don't share that for pity, but just to be fully honest and maybe even to give a sense of community because I know that I am not the only business owner or coach who has really struggled this past year in the online business space. And I had this breakdown moment in May where I realized I'm going to need to get a job. And to be honest, that realization felt earth shattering. Like nothing in me wanted to get that job. Nothing in me wanted a 9 to 5. Nothing in me wanted to go work for someone else. But my back was against the wall. And so I did the responsible thing of applying for jobs. Now, one thing I love about the Lord, and by the way, you will hear me talk about being led by God and the Holy Spirit, even though I know not everyone believes in that. It's just, it's easier to talk about being led by intuition and your gut. And I do believe in that as well. But for me, I also believe that God has a hand in our lives, that He is working for our good, even when we can't make sense of it. And He is leading us one step at a time. And this was one of those situations where I felt like I was being led, where I wasn't being given the full picture, but I was just willing to see where he might take me, to see where I might be led one step at a time. I was open. Again, I didn't want to get a job. I didn't want to find a new kind of employment. I didn't want to close my business. I didn't want to shut down Mom Empowered. These were not my desires. but I was open to change. I kind of felt like Anna in Frozen 2, just doing the next right thing. And to me, that was sending out some job applications, which, by the way, kind of sucked because I didn't have a resume. I didn't have references. I'm literally just winging it, like just trying to like put together some sort of a portfolio or something, right? To show for, to show what I've been doing for these last decade. But in the midst of this, I still found the courage to tap into my desires. Like, yes, this is me doing a hard, scary thing out of responsibility and obligation. Yes, I need to pay my bills. Yes, I need to find a source of income, more income. But within this decision, I decided I'm also going to listen to what feels and sounds good to me. What ideas light me up? And what this looked like is I found myself exclusively applying for writing jobs, marketing jobs, graphic design jobs, social media agencies, marketing agencies, just basically anywhere that I knew I'd probably be able to shine based off of the skills that I've grown over the last 6 or 7 years as a solo business owner. I desired to lean into my creativity and the things that I enjoy and could be good at. So that was me doing the next right thing. And about a week into this, and this is what's so funny. Oh my gosh, I still am just like flabbergasted and just so tickled pink by the way things went. But about a week into sending out these applications, and I was like committed, right? Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go all in. So I was sending out a lot. In the midst of this, I grabbed coffee with a friend. And again, I'm still in the frame of mind. I'm going to be open. I'm paying attention to my desires and I am willing to be led. I'm willing to see what God has for me. And while we were chatting at this coffee shop, I start talking about all these different jobs I'm applying to and some of the things I was wrestling through. I didn't want to put my big girl pants on and get a 9 to 5. I didn't want to go back to exchanging my time for a salary. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to see my business succeed. I wanted to protect my freedom, my routines, my mental health. And as I'm talking with her, this friend was like, okay, you're applying to work for all of these marketing and design agencies, but honestly, Jess, why don't you just be the agency? And I kid you not, I went home and that night I used ChatGPT and I asked it to help me map out how on earth could I launch some sort of an agency, a marketing agency, design agency? I don't know, but like what could that look like? And it was like this fire was just suddenly lit under me. Like I can't even fully describe to you how it felt. The best way I can think to describe it is I suddenly had this vision and it felt so possible and so me. Like it was aligned with who I am and my values and my passions and my skills and my dreams. I couldn't even fathom not doing it at this point. And so, over the course of the next 2 weeks, as I continued to be led by my desire and I was open to being led by God, I narrowed in on exactly what I wanted to offer. I started building everything out. I used literally the last of my savings to invest in my own branding, some education, different software that I needed to launch. And by the end of July, so again, this happened at the end of May. By the end of July, Empowerhouse Branding was fully launched into the world. I made my first hire. I signed my first clients, and everything about the way I have run this business up until now has been so different from how I've led my businesses before. Because again, I am being led by desire. I am tapping into what feels and sounds good to me. Marketing just on social media and praying and hoping for the algorithm gods to favor me? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going back to that. That's not where my desire is. That doesn't bring me joy. I want to be out in the world. I'm going to be networking. I'm building connections in my real, actual life. I want to be cold pitching because I actually do love that. I feel so aligned and at peace with just being bold and stepping out in different ways of marketing. And the results in doing business this way, in just going with what feels aligned with where my desire is leading me, the results have been astounding. Listen, I went from, and I really want to highlight this, okay? I went from, I'm about to be broke, and I guess I better apply for some jobs in May, to launching a brand and web design studio in July. I Love it. This is what I am here for. Turning pain into purpose, challenging the norms, making big moves, and having bold faith in order to create a life and a business and a motherhood that I love, showing other women what's possible. So that's my first big example of how I've been led by desire in a really big way in these past few months. My second one has to do with mom empowered. By the way, I will be sharing more about motherhood and what this has to do with parenting in future episodes, but I really just feel led to emphasize the business piece here because it's not about business. I mean, it is, but really, it's about dreaming. It's about creating space for your passions and going after your desires and your dreams. And regardless of whether or not you're a business owner or have some sort of career you're building, I know you have passions and dreams. And I really do believe this episode can speak to you. It can meet you where you're at. So, the second example is that over the course of the summer, I've had to also go inward and reflect on the future of Mom Empowered. And I know I shared some of this in my next era episode from a few weeks back, but I want to peel the curtain back a little bit more. Now that I had another business I was launching and investing in, I was planning a new future around Empower House now. I finally felt like I had the freedom to fully explore what I might like for Mom Empowered to become. Not just what my niche made it be, or what other coaches told me Mom Empowered should be, or what made financial sense for it to be, or even what the Instagram algorithm was or was not allowing it to be. But really, I just want to sit with what do I want this to be? If all the rules could be thrown out the window, and this platform, this business no longer had to support me and my dreams for myself and my daughters, what would I want to share? What would I want to offer to the world? Who would I want to serve? What would I want to stand for? And how would I want to show up? And this makes me emotional to talk about because, again, asking these questions and just being willing to listen to my desires just lit this fire under me, but also it led me to these wildly unexpected yet totally aligned decisions that, again, I just can't even fully describe. It's almost like a, oh, there you are, or like a coming home to myself. And what I discovered, or maybe recovered, is that I want to be a voice. I still want to be a voice. I want to share my stories and I want to empower women. I want to be myself and offer all parts of my journey, not just what fits into a neat, tidy box or a niche or what sells on Instagram. In fact, I want to be free from the endless social media hustle that I felt like I had been so consumed by for years on end. And I really don't mean to poo poo on social media. Like, that's not the point of what I'm saying at all. I just know that my relationship to it needs healing. And I don't want to ever go back to feeling controlled by it. So, what I landed on is, you know what? It's time to relaunch the podcast. I landed on, you know what? I am more than the anger expert. I'm ready to be more. And I landed on it's time to shine a light on more things to help more women walk in freedom. It's time to stand on stages, even write my book. Mom Empowered is not a course or a membership. I know that's what it has been presented as. That's what my business turned into. But that's not what Mom Empowered is. It wasn't, I don't know if it ever was really supposed to be just that. Mom Empowered is a movement. It's my life's journey turned into an opportunity for more women to experience healing and freedom and abundance. And it looks like me just showing up and being honest and using my voice. And that is where my desire led me. And now I'm like, well, of course, those 6 months, or really, if I'm being honest, that of course, that's why the last 2 years have felt so hazy and heavy. I was making all these decisions and running my business in all these different ways from a place of rules and obligation, thinking, okay, well, this is what creates success. This is what will create my financial stability. And once I was faced with the hard truth of, oh crap, actually, this is not creating success or stability for me, what ends up happening is I finally got to start rebuilding from a place of genuine desire and alignment with my values and with what I love and how God made me. And now the success and stability can come in a way that actually feels good for me. Being led by my desire, going after what lights me up has changed everything. It's made me more bold, more willing to do hard and scary and kind of like weird out there kind of things, it makes me feel confident to where I'm not spiraling every 5 seconds just because things feel out of my control or because I have this crazy long to-do list full of all these projects and it just never lets up. I'm more energized and motivated and driven than ever before. I'm more creative. I'm more resourceful. I'm hearing and seeing the Holy Spirit at work in my life. And listen to this, I'm a better mom. I'm a better friend. Like friends are literally blown away by the things I'm sharing with them and how I'm empowering them and challenging them just naturally, just in conversation. Because once you experience a more abundant and aligned way of living, you can't help but want to see other women experience the same. It's like there's this overflow that just happens. Now let's talk about what this means for you. And the truth is, I don't know. I don't know what it means for you because you are the only person who actually knows your desires, right? You're the only one who knows what you're actually longing for or what your gut is trying to tell you or how God might be leading in your life. But maybe for you, being led by desire means finally saying no to what's draining you or what is no longer working for you. The friendship, the relationship, the way you structure your life or operate at work or in motherhood. Maybe it looks like creating more margin in your life for the things that light you up and bring you joy, the hobbies, the creativity, the friendships, the ladies' nights, the solo walks, the paddleboarding, the reading and journaling and investing in yourself. Maybe your desire has been nudging you toward something totally new, a new skill you've been wanting to learn, a business idea you've been wanting to explore or pursue. Or maybe it's just you taking it day by day and just tapping into what sounds good, what feels most like you. You know what? Today I want more snuggles with my kids. That's my desire. Today I want to get outside. I want to just sit outside and feel the sun on my face. Today I want to put the to do list down. I want to take a break from the hustle. That's not who I am. That's not all that I am. Today, I want to put myself out there and make a bold move. I want to go after that crazy idea I've been sitting on all this time. Listen, I want you to hear this. I really do. You are safe to lean into your desires. I'm going to say that again. It is safe to lean into your desires. Being led by your desire doesn't mean you stop showing up for your responsibilities. You still got to feed your kids, right? You still got to get the dishwasher running at the end of the night. For some of us, you still got to work. You still got to make that money. But I'm telling you, when you make more room for those inner longings, when you're open to being led and are willing to listen to your desires and what is calling out to you, you don't suddenly just drop all your responsibilities. Again, I know you. You're going to do what needs to get done. It's a non negotiable, right? Your life doesn't just suddenly fall into chaos. But what actually ends up happening when you are led by your desires is you show up to those responsibilities in a totally different energy. Because instead of being driven by just obligation and dread and anxiety and stress, now you're inspired. You're excited. You feel energized and free and grateful. You're decisive. You're confident. You end up bringing the best of you to everything. So today, your invitation is simple. Before you do the next thing on your list, I want you to pause and ask yourself, how can I be led by desire right now in this moment? And then follow it because you just never know how that might become a doorway to even more joy, more creativity, more alignment, and maybe even more confidence than you've had in years. And that is a life you are deserving of.